which I really doubt because you are in fact on the internet. Star Wars released the name of their next movie. Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. So, of course, the question today is, who is the Last Jedi? Man, I do not know how Star Wars does it. I mean, you'd think this would be a really nice, easily interpreted title, but no. Of course not. Last Jedi. Oh, what does it mean? I mean, my most obvious and immediate thought is that, of course, Luke is the Last Jedi, because at the end of Return of the Jedi, that is the fact. He is the Last Jedi. And in the opening scroll of The Force Awakens, it even names Luke as the Last Jedi. Boom, right there. So you'd think that'd be it, right? Case closed. Call it a video. Yeah, right. What are you, new here? We are not even close to being done with this. Luke might be the most obvious candidate and the only Jedi remaining at the end of Return of the Jedi. But in The Force Awakens, we learned that Luke was training up a new generation of Jedi before one of his pupils, Kylo Ren, turned to the dark side and like totally screwed everything up. Nephews, am I right? Actually, I don't know. I don't have any nephews. Ben, you want to get on that? But on the topic of nephew, the title could also be referring to the last person to ever earn the title of Jedi, who could be Kylo Ren. Like, he could be the latest person to earn the title, as in the Last Jedi. And if the title is referring to him, calling him a Jedi, then it could also be alluding to the pull of the light side he was feeling in The Force Awakens. Honestly though, I kind of doubt it. I feel like him murdering Han Solo, you know, his father at the end of the last movie, kind of severed that tie permanently, or at least for the time being. But that still doesn't mean The Last Jedi isn't referring to Kylo Ren. It could be referring to his mission. In The Force Awakens, he tells Darth Vader's helmet that he will finish what he started. As I say it out loud, that was a really weird sentence. I'm just talking to my helmet here. Now, the movie leaves what Vader started pretty ambiguous, but Kylo hunting down the Last Jedi would be a pretty plausible interpretation of that mission, as it is what Vader spent most of his time doing after the Clone Wars. And I have to imagine Kylo Ren's motivation to do just that, hunt down the Last Jedi, is pretty high after he got his butt kicked at the end of the last movie by our last candidate. Because Rey herself could also be the Last Jedi, or at least I think by the end of the movie. If I had to guess, I'm betting that much like The Empire Strikes Back, The Last Jedi is going to be the movie where the bad guys do most of the kicking of the butts. I mean, it's only fair, really. The Resistance did just blow up the First Order's giant super planet-sized base in the last movie. And this idea is also reinforced by the fact that the font on this poster is red, the color typically associated with the bad guys in Star Wars. Except when it comes to like X-Wings versus TIE Fighters, where suddenly the good guys have the red lasers. Who made that decision? Interestingly though, the red font is not unique. Both Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi also used red font on their posters, and in one of those movies, the good guys end up winning the day, so it is certainly not definitive. But either way, I think we are definitely going to have some parallels from the Empire Strikes Back plot lines, and maybe one or two from A New Hope. Mainly that Luke will train Rey, similar to how Yoda trained Luke, and that Luke will die fighting Kylo Ren, much the same way that Obi-Wan died fighting Vader. Yep, I said it. Luke will die and Rey will be the Last Jedi. Calling it. But that is all assuming we are interpreting Jedi as singular, because of course Jedi is also the plural of the Jedi. If it is plural, that could also support the idea that Kylo Ren is hunting down Luke and Rey, as in the last two Jedi, and it would mean that Luke wouldn't necessarily have to die. Who knows, maybe Luke and Rey will make some big heroic final stand as the last two Jedi. But I doubt it, because like I said, Luke is so going down. Being plural would also open the door for more than just Rey or Luke to be considered the Last Jedi. After all, Finn does handle the lightsaber pretty well in The Force Awakens. I mean, he even manages to strike a blow on Kylo Ren, although, to be fair, he does also lose to a stormtrooper. So, there's that. Finn just using the lightsaber isn't necessarily conclusive, as there's no rule against non-Force users using a lightsaber, but typically when a non-Force user does use a lightsaber, it's more dangerous to the user than their opponent. Which is silly if you ask me. I mean, this is totally easy. Plus, without the use of the Force, the user is unable to use the lightsaber to deflect blaster bolts, at which point you're basically just bringing a sword to a gunfight. Unless in fact you are fighting another Force user who has a lightsaber, in which case you are still just bringing a sword to a lightsaber fight, and you can't even use the Force, so good luck with that. Regardless, all of this is to say that Finn does manage to use the lightsaber to hit Kylo Ren, suggesting that he could be Force sensitive. Although personally, I am not a big fan of that particular plot line, but it is plausible. Of course, all of that is assuming that The Last Jedi is referring to single people, not Jedi as in like the organization or religion, because the title could also be suggesting the end of the Jedi altogether. This would again mean that Luke is in fact the last Jedi, or was. Maybe he came to the conclusion in all of his years of seclusion that the Jedi had it wrong, or maybe he begins to train Rey and she comes to that conclusion. Like maybe she decides the Jedi are just too inflexible, so yes, she wants to be a light side Force user, but not a Jedi specifically. Personally, I can't imagine Star Wars doing away with Jedi in favor of some new religion or ideology, but they did get rid of the Sith and the Empire and the Republic. And plenty of characters like Anakin and Count Dooku have decided that they stopped agreeing with the Jedi Code and left the Jedi Order. But maybe the best example for this scenario is Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, who also leaves the Jedi Order, but just because she stops agreeing with them, not because she wants to go all like super dark side on everybody. And I think that pretty much sums it up, but I will point out just one more thing. Couldn't help but notice that the bad guys are called the First Order, and the name of this movie is The Last Jedi. So maybe order has a second meaning then, like rather than just an organization or a troop of the military, it is an actual command, which brings up the question, what is or was the First Order? For now, I guess that's just something to think about. But Ben, my question for you and everybody else is, who do you think is the Last Jedi? Do you agree with me? Luke will die and Rey will in fact be the Last Jedi. Let me know your thoughts in the towel section down below.
These socks are amazing!
Guys, thanks for watching. As always, please remember to like this video if you haven't already and subscribe so you don't miss any future Star Wars content from us. If you'd like to see who we think Rey's parents are, you can check out this video right